Ladies and gentlemen, it is lightning round. We are drafted with the family tonight. We are the glasses gang because all four of us are bespectacled tonight. And by the way, Coop, in the intro, I guess this is on me. You're not even wearing sunglasses or any kind of glasses. What's going on?
Yeah, I messed that one up there because I'm the one that wears all the sunglasses. I got like 17 pairs in front of me right here, minimum. So I don't
It's
know.
so off brand.
We gotta redo it. Also, maybe turn it down a little bit, but that's for tomorrow, I would say.
Yeah, that's for producer backstage Kevin. Wear many hats as you've never seen my hair or lack thereof underneath that hat. Anyway, we were drafted with the family tonight. I'm going to go ahead and enter this draft, but before we do that, we have a special guest. We have 3/5 of the Fantasy Besties here. Normally it is me and Coop representing the Fantasy Besties, but the third is the immortal, the illustrious Linda. Linda, how are you?
I want to be immortal. That sounds awful.
Your content is certainly immortal, and your spirit.
Okay, I'm fine. I just personally think I'm going to run out of time eventually. Fingers crossed.
I don't know where that word came from, so you're going to have to just roll with me because I haven't been on a stream with you in about, what, almost a year?
Chances are
I'm hoping we all get enough content out in the airwaves so they can just create like AI versions of us that can just pod forever, right? I've pretty much said just about every word at this point, I feel.
That's terrifying.
Well, I will say this. Last week we were on the Best Ball Tents platform. We are back to, I don't know if I want to say it's our home base, but it's where we're most comfortable, I feel like, because we've drafted the most there on Underdog Fantasy. Coop, if people are watching this and want to draft those Fantasy Alarm members, those rascals over there on the Discord, how can they do that?
Well, if you just want to draft, if you just want to be a casual fantasy gamer and just get on Underdog and play, you can use promo code Fantasy Alarm to get on there. Spend $100; they'll match up to $100, or spend $20, and that's $20. But to get the most bang for your buck, use that full amount. And if you want to be a super mega star, part of the family, part of these drafts, we invite special guest Linda because she's an analyst. She's part of this. We had Jim Coventry last week. The rest of the people in this draft are all Fantasy Alarm members, megastars. We do that so we can get a good look at what's actually going on, what sharp gamers are doing. These drafts are more than just $5 drafts where somebody wins $50. We're going to get the best possible look at real drafts now so that by the time we get to our hometown drafts, the big important ones where it's $250 and you got to fight your buddy Pete because he won't give you the trophy because he's being annoying. Pete, those are the best drafts. Those are the ones that matter the most. And we're going to be so ready for those because we're doing so many of these. And because we have Linda here to tell us her special strategies. So why don't we get into it? Are we up and running?
Yeah, we are good in about 7 seconds.
Yeah. Linda, before we get into this, I know there's no kickers in this. Every year, I know you kind of have a kicker that, you're not afraid to rank the chalk if you like the chalk, but you always have somebody that you kind of keep in your back pocket. Can you give us your sneaky kicker pick this year if you got one that most people don't have ranked super high?
Whoever kicks for the Dallas Cowboys, but they don't have. It's not great there right now. But I like all of the rookie kickers this year. Ooh. In particular, New England and the 49ers. New England's been kind of at the top 2 years ago, and then last year kind of fell off, but I think gets turned around on the offense this year. So I'm down for Chad Ryland and Jake Moody.
I will say about New England kicker is that we love Nick Folk. He's a great dude, but he lost the leg power. He couldn't even kick a touchback towards the end, right? He still had the accuracy, but if you can get the Patriots stalling offense with a kicker that can actually kick from deep, that could be big money. I kind of like that idea, Lynn.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm so ready. Best ball has not been the remedy it was for me last offseason. I'm ready for redraft.
I need real leagues. I need real leagues.
Now I will say, Linda, I do love you, but I will say I don't love you as much in the best ball streets because in the Venn diagram of our best ball targets, you and me are firmly in the same circle because we do love the fast and sexy young players. So this will be a battle at the back end of the draft board because me and Cooper back to back. You're at the turn at the 12th pick, so it'll be a back half battle. Britt at 104 taking Travis Kelce.
I don't have an I won't say any exposures of him, but many exposures of him. And I just kind of want to try a different build here and see where it goes. Also, I may be prepping a little bit for my Scott Fishbowl draft on Monday.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah, I do like every once in a while because there's certain players that I'm just even on. I'm not reaching on, I'm not fading. I do like when I get a chance to take those guys, especially if they fall to me, just so I can say, oh, got one. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown, when I did draft one of him, I was like, you know what? It's good to have him somewhere. That little scamp. That little low A dot badger.
So do we think he's going to be low A dot this year with Jahmyr Gibbs in the slot, or do you think they're actually going to move him out wide? Because I think that could hurt him more than it helps him.
The thing is, he actually played a good chunk of snaps out wide, but still kind of ran the same route tree. I think they're going to have to move him out wide since they went and drafted Kincaid, they went and drafted Gibbs, but I'm just not sure that, like you suggested, that he's going to succeed there. I don't know, Linda, you on the Sun God train this year? Where would you take him at least? Where do you feel good about that?
I'm thinking about taking him right now, but I've been so adamantly anti Ross St. Brown that like I feel like I kind of need to make up for it, but also that it's gonna bite every Sun God fan in the can I say ass in the butt?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
I think you're past it now, Linda.
Yeah. Whatever. This is Better Sports Network. This isn't a radio or anything. You can say whatever the hell you want, and it's on YouTube. Just be reasonable, okay?
I did it because we ran out of time.
There you go.
But when you've been out on a guy forever, and then you're finally like, okay, fine, I'll do it, and then they suck.
That's what happens, dude. And then you can still turn around and be like, I told you so. I told you this was coming. It was only a matter of time. And real quick, just want to give a shout out to some of the folks in the chat. Toronto Dave, we got Wyatt in here, we got Chavi in here, we have Nicholas making sure his presence is known. So shout out to you guys. And also in the draft itself, we got some superstars. We have in this particular one, let me take a little look at who's on here. Why don't I have it on my screen? We have, of course, the four of us. We have Rock and Roll Ray, Hamburglar 23, Steel Lifer from the Fantasy Alarm Discord. His name on here is Jay Gordo. His buddy Mongo's joining us. Usually it's just Fantasy Alarm members. We like Steel Lifer, so we let his buddy join us. We got J-Bro in the on the draft board, J3W. And then we have Chicago Poncho. He'll be Poncho Rio in the chat. And then our good pal Tool Time showing up as you mad, bro. These guys have done so many drafts with us. I know they're all sharp, except Mongo. First time draft with Mongo. Maybe he stinks to this. But the rest of these guys, I know they're good. Right? So shout out Mongo. But I took Jalen Waddle here, and that's a guy that I'm taking personally above Amon-Ra St. Brown, just because he went from a 7-yard A dot up to a 13-yard A dot. I think his ceiling's higher. Especially in this type of format, but it's pretty close. I don't know. Kev, if it was up to you in a half-point PPR league like this, Waddle or the Sun God?
I think I'm pretty even on both of those guys. Monrod is going a little bit higher, but Waddle's crept up through that Olave Higgins tier to where he's like back-to-back right now with the Monrod. So it really is depending on how I feel that day. They're both about even for me. So I mean, it's whether you like the shorter, you want a little more volume and with Monra, or you want big playability. And then you're also going to get a condensed offense with Miami Dolphins too. So I guess with that factor, I'd probably take more Waddle, but I have enough Monra too.
Yeah. Linda getting some support in the chat from Dynasty Coach A. Also a challenge from Wyatt. If Linda doesn't take Justin Herbert in this draft, then she's a fraud.
Damn.
You just step up, dude, or are you going to be a fraud, Linda?
I've never been a fraud a day in my life, but now that you said it out loud to everybody.
Nope, no pressure.
I just don't want you to let the people down. If it looks like, hey, those people are here for you. I will say this for
mean in the group chat, which is why he's being nice in this chat.
I will say for Justin Herbert, last year, third most passing yards, but we talked about ADOT with Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you take all the QBs and narrow it down to the guys who threw at least 200 passes, which means they're starting, unless it's Joe Flacco starting like 4 games, they're starting at least like 5 or 6 games to throw 200 passes. He was 34th in ADOT, so not even in the top 32. There were backups that came in that were throwing a little deeper. Now they move on from Joe Lombardi, bring in Kellen Moore. This could be the year for Justin Herbert, Linda. I know you've been a fan for quite some time. This could be the year where he transcends to potentially lead this league in passing.
Every single time I remember that Joe Lombardi's gone and Kellen Moore took his place, like I get just like a little tinglies, you know? It's very exciting.
It is exciting. And hey, maybe if someday they get rid of your boy Staley there, this team will have a viable kicker as well. Right?
Hey, Digger the kicker is going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
But don't you have some numbers that suggest that this team goes for it on fourth too much to really, is that a thing of the past?
Well, he did his first year. Brandon Staley was way aggressive all the time, so it became like a question of when to start his kicker. But then last year he pulled off of it, and Dan Bailey was the issue in that world. You're like, dude, just not every time, you got to surprise him.
And I will say, as a Cowboys fan too, it was so frustrating to see Kellen Moore just opt to kick the ball from like 60 yards out. And now that he's in this offense, I think that they're going to attempt a lot more field goals than they do trying to convert fourth downs.
Kev, that draft pick you just made was most annoying. Is that what you're chuckling about? That was
I saw your face, and
that was most annoying.
Yeah, that wasn't a spite. That wasn't to spite you or anything. That's my stance of I want to take more naked Josh Allen. More exposure to that, and taking these elite quarterbacks without having to, make sure that you get the Kelsey Mahomes, making sure that you get the Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, or making sure you get Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. Like, I think the naked quarterbacks and then being able to backfill them late. I mean, obviously we can do it in Kansas City. You can do it with, I can't really do it with Philly that much, but Hurts on his own is just fine. You don't need to stack these guys.
Linda, so based on what Kev says, backfilling naked quarterbacks, specifically Josh Allen, how do you feel about
wow.
that? You guys keep talking about naked Josh Allen.
How do you feel about that?
I'm clenching now.
How do you feel about that? Just phrasing left and I'm like, listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Well, on the real, without the joke, you did take Josh Allen right before me, one pick before me, while I have Stephon Diggs, which hurt my feelings, hurt me on a personal level. Linda, are you interested in taking Josh Allen on his own in the second or third round? I mean, third round, kind of automatic now.
Am I freezing?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
If you are, put on a sweatshirt.
No, stop it. I'm always
terrible, dude.
So bad.
I'm always pro Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I think Patrick Mahomes, these are guys that like you don't necessarily need to stack. They carry quite a bit of weight on their own, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I just want to point out that I'm not a fraud. So
I know I was gonna say I really love that Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen stack back to back. Like that looks so freaking
wow. Yeah, I mean, like between Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Keenan Allen, that is so many targets. So pretty good start there. I like it. Yeah. I hope the goons in the chat are appeased by your selection there.
Yeah. And I will say, just with my particular star, Cooper Kupp, Saquon Barkley, Josh Allen, if you want to get a wide receiver, like that pick of Saquon Barkley, you're almost committed to, you're not really committed to a structure, but taking Barkley boxes me out of the third round wide receivers, because after DK Metcalf is in a tier almost by himself after the Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, Olave tier, and then you got the Cooper, Keenan Allen, Debo, that tier. It's like DK's the island, and then you're almost having to make up with lesser with those third round wide receivers. So that's why I don't really like the Saquon Barkley pick in hindsight, but it's correlated, so whatever.
Drafting from this 6 spot is truly awful. It's
not great, Bob.
Is this the worst spot, or there were
6 and 7 are notoriously my least favorite spots in Underdog draft.
I'm really getting.
It gets worse. It gets so much worse.
Why can't we all just be Omega and pick one every time? Right.
Yeah.
So Linda, we have a question in the chat specifically for you. Our favorite chat cat, Mr. Scampers, comes in. He says, how does the third round reversal in the Scott Fishbowl affect kickers this year? We know that I always go to your profile every year to check out your great chart that you put out that shows all the kicker scoring from last year based on this year's scoring, because it changes every year. So, I mean, if you haven't checked that out, everybody type in @Lindellians in your Twitter search box and then hashtag SFB13, and it comes up pretty quickly. I know that because I check it all the time. Anytime anyone asks me a kicker question, I'm like, here you go. There you go. Leave me alone. So that's how I find that info. But the third round reversal with the kickers, any effect on that? When would you feel comfortable taking the first kicker?
I mean, last year I put it off for so long because everybody was like, can't believe you haven't taken a kicker yet. I dug my heels in, which I probably won't do this year. I looked at some ADP and like Justin Tucker's going round 15. It's not a very steep fall off like tight end is, like quarterback is. I would say it's a really safe floor where you're some like big weeks occasionally, but the floor is like really the appealing part. So I think you can wait till round 15, 16, 17. But, Scott mentioned these are running back threes, wide receiver threes, and you're starting 11 players each week. So I think it's going to be more valuable than it has been in the past.
I didn't draft any last year because I was on MFL, but I found myself adding them and starting them because, when you get to the injuries and the bye weeks, man, it feels good to have one of those guys in there, right? Like,
13 points, you're like,
Brett Maher almost got me to the playoffs by himself.
No negative points this year. Sorry. Go ahead.
And the fact that each extra point made is 3 points. Right. That is humongous.
Such a nice floor.
Yeah, you just take a really, like Tyler Bass is who I'm going to target in that format because I think the Bills score points. And so that's where Bills and, again, Chargers, the Chiefs, the AFC West.
Yeah, they're going to be scoring every game. And to your point, Linda, where people always like, they do that to me too at tight end. They're like, oh, you must love drafting Kelsey, or you must love drafting tight ends early. It's like, it's easy to do the top part of rankings, right? Same with, to a certain degree, with kicker, with any of these positions. If you're loading up early, you're not using your skill, which is finding the breakouts, finding the late ones. So,
Oh yeah, I love to pick somebody that's not an obvious choice. Like nothing feels better than being like getting a streamer right. That's the best.
Yep. You know what? You did say, Linda, about rookie kickers, and we did have a very nice discussion about one rookie kicker that may not be so nice. And Anders Carlson, the I believe younger brother of Daniel Carlson, who is one of my favorite kickers, indoor kicker, AFC West. Gotta love it. But yeah, my Packers basically drafted Mason Crosby in the 5th round.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Injury history. Like I just did not see that happening for the Packers. And, I think there's still enough kickers because there's enough competitions going on and there's enough older kickers floating around that I don't think we've seen the end of the shakeup. They'll probably bring somebody in, a guy that's for 3 years to get into the league. And I wouldn't be surprised if that guy beat out Anders.
Yeah. I mean, from what you told me, he hasn't made a 50-yarder since the pandemic, I believe.
Yeah. And not great at kickoffs. And that's such a big part of it too. Like I didn't realize until I got, turn to pick somebody else.
Yeah, you go. Well, I'll tell you that. Well, I'll support your point right here, and it's pretty easy with the kickoffs. Is last year, look at the New England Patriots. People forget that they were within a game or so of making the playoffs. If they had beaten the Bills, they would have been on the fast track to make the playoffs. But their punter got hurt, and their punter was a guy that handled the kickoffs, right? So instead, you have Nick Folk going out there, and he can't kick a touchback. What happens in that game? Nyheim Hines runs back 2 kickoffs for touchdowns. And because they're so scared of him, the third one goes out of bounds. They get the ball at the 40-yard line. So as far as the kicker job goes, when Linda says it's important, we literally watched the team not make the playoffs last year. I mean, granted, they could have lost that game as well, but the game was over already because the other teams didn't have to play offense half the game. They just were running the kickback each time. So it is an important part of the game. So, and you can't you can't rule that out as much as we would love to just go by the college kicking stats or things like that, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of kicker stats that aren't as important as others. I think distance, touchbacks, those are things that you're going to get. Last year's Lou Groza Award winner, he was the only perfect kicker at the combine, currently not on a team because he's 5'9" and he didn't kick off at all in college.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like if you don't have a punter that can do it, you're not going to carry two kickers. You're not going to have some like,
right.
you're going to have like Diggs go out there and do the kickoff, right? Like one of those guys needs to do it.
Which is so weird to me that Green Bay made that selection because the most important time of the year, it's notoriously cold and snowy in that stadium. And so for a guy who can't make 50-yard field goals, it's really puzzling to me.
This is the first time all draft where the guy that like where the guy at the top of my queue made it back, and I was like, this is the guy I wanted. The sixth spot is evil. Real quick, want to shout out JC Thomas in the chat. That's Mongo. We mentioned him earlier. He's a friend of Steel Lifer. This is his first time in here. Thanks for the shout outs. He says this is the most unique build I've had so far in my drafts. Let's pull him up. He's got so far, so he's picking from the 2 spot. He's got Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor, Ramondre Stevenson, Justin Fields, TJ Hawkinson. Man, it feels honestly pretty strong so far. He's got a couple picks coming up right now. Linda, how you feel about that start?
Sorry, I was muted because I was coughing. I like that start just fine. I like TJ Hawkinson. I think
that's cheap. He slid,
Vikings,
right? Hawkinson slid a bit there from where he usually goes.
I think Ramondre Stevenson makes me nervous. Every time I do an underdog draft, I'm like, single digit running back feels so strong. And I could totally eat crow on that one, but just feels a little aggressive for me.
Yeah, the thing with Mondre, like he was so good last year, but the system is going back to the Bill O'Brien era, and there's all these rumors about Ty Montgomery and about the guy Tompkins. Who is it's Pierce? And why am I forgetting his name? Pierce Strong. Like there's rumors that they're going to go back to that 2-back system. So I can see why you'd be a little nervous there. Again, changing the system again. Who knows what it's going to look like?
Yeah, I was actually listening to the ETR podcast. Pat Thorman was on there. He's talking about the Patriots and Ramondre Stevenson's season last year with all targets may not have been by design just because of the injuries that befell the running back group. So
with the first week of the year, people like you go back and look at that game, look at the behind the scenes numbers. Ty Montgomery played 25 snaps at running back and he got 4 targets. Like it kind of looked like that first game they wanted him to be the pass down back, and then he got hurt and missed the rest of the season. He only played the 1 game. But I mean, it's entirely possible that was the plan and it got derailed. So hard to say, but Mondre, even then, to me, he kind of falls in that tier of like when you watch him play, it's exciting. It's like Nick Chubb, where you're like, I think this is a good player, So I don't know. We'll have to see. Britt, Mondre Stevenson in or out at that turn, the 2-3 turn there?
I was actually eyeing him and targeting him, but he got snagged before it was my chance. But I was more than happy to take Derrick Henry there. I think that Henry has a better overall floor and honestly overall ceiling. But that said, I really like Ramondre in this offense. Mac Jones short ADOT that he showed last year. Stevenson showed himself as a prolific pass catcher. And I think this 3rd-year breakout is really coming. So yeah, I like him there.
He is he's a good player, a lot of fun to watch. It's just like so much is out of his hands. You take a player like that and put him onto a different team, you put him on the 49ers with CMC and a fullback and all, instead of CMC with a fullback and all that stuff. And I don't think it's much of a question, right? It's the Patriots are not the Patriots of yesteryear now that this guy's gone.
Right. If we see what we saw last year, if they kind of repeat that, and maybe, Peter Strong doesn't get the role that we think he is, or, that pass catching role, Ramondre can absolutely flirt with a top 4, top 5 running back overall in fantasy. Like that's the upside that's the kind of the pie in the sky that you're hoping to get at the 2-3 turn. I mean, I love all those, as a noted, not running back guy, those running backs are really attractive, especially Pollard's the top of my list in that range, but Ramondre is not far behind. Josh Jacobs, we kind of got maybe a little worry about if he's going to report and, the whole franchise thing. And then you've got Derrick Henry, who the wheels have to fall sometime, but the dude is a freak of nature and he's just defying father time. So I'm fine with all those guys in that range.
Kev, you predicted this might happen. You foreshadowed this at the start of this draft, but look what Miss Linda just did at the turn there.
The hot and sexy rookies. Yep.
Yeah, back-to-back Quentin Johnston.
And JSN, too.
Flowers. You have JSN as well?
Yeah, I can't stop.
Wow, can't stop, won't stop with the youngins. Which one's your favorite? Which one's your favorite rookie? Just of this crew, or just of the entire rookie class in best ball this year? Is it JSN?
I like Quentin a lot. I have probably my highest exposure is to Quentin Johnson, and I haven't done like a ton of best ball drafting, but I would say I picked him more than anybody else.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, he looks good, man, and not to mention, like people always talk about, right? People sit back and they always say, "Oh, Michael Thomas is going to get hurt, and Keenan Allen's going to get hurt, and Mike Williams is going to get hurt, and all these guys are going to get hurt." Well, what are you doing about it, right? Like forget it's so easy to be negative and just say, "Oh, I'm not drafting that guy because he's going to get hurt." Okay, well, if you can tell the future, then what are you doing about it? And if you truly think that one of these guys is going to get hurt, then why aren't you drafting Quentin Johnston everywhere, right? Because he's a first-round pick. Thank God these running backs got to me, or I would have had a conniption. Sorry. But if sorry to interrupt, but I
was going to take one.
I desperately needed one. So I mean, like, what are you doing? It's same thing with Michael Thomas. People keep telling you he's going to get hurt. Okay. Are you drafting Raheem Shaheed? Are you drafting Juwan Johnson? Like, what are you doing here? So I like the idea of Quentin Johnston there because last year, 2 years in a row now, actually, both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen have gotten hurt. So it's like a double handcuff plus, really.
But we preach all the time about not predicting injuries, I just got sniped. That's super annoying. We preach all the time about not predicting injuries because injuries can happen at any given time. I mean, Quentin Johnston could go down during training camp, so we don't know. So
Right.
just be aware of that.
Well,
That back end turn was brutal, by the way, because I think Rock and Roll auto drafted Darren Waller, who I wanted to at least get another giant in there, and then Rashad White I would have liked to get. James Cook is interesting. I do think there's some reports out there that Latavius Murray might be pushing Damian Harris a little bit, and that could hurt both of those guys, but I think it insulates James Cook a little bit. So I think I might start adding a little more James Cook into my what do you guys think about him as far as him being kind of insulated between the 20s with Buffalo?
I'll tell you right now, Kev, the most I've thought about Latavius Murray pushing Damian Harris.
We didn't think about Latavius Murray last year.
The most I've thought about it is this last 15 seconds. That's actually the only time I've thought about it. I'll admit to you that I have not thought about Latavius Murray for more than.
I will happily take the flag plant of reminder of the olds.
There you
when
go,
it comes
dude.
to these guys.
Yeah. We're up to 40 seconds now that I've thought about Latavius Murray, and I'd love to stop at any point.
Anytime.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I don't know I think you're right that role, there are touchdowns in there, right? They're available if Josh Allen doesn't take them all. Cause I mean, you're not going to,
that's the thesis behind Damian Harris is taking the wear and tear off of Josh Allen.
It's true. If there's a pass interference in the end zone, that's our favorite hypothetical. Bingo card, that one. But if there's pass interference in the end zone, you're not sending James Cook down there to plunge it in, right? So it's got to be, if it's not Josh Allen, it's got to be somebody. But Latavius Murray, come on now.
I will say that I picked up Latavius Murray in the Kings Classic when he got signed with the Broncos last season, and he did decent on that really piss poor offense. So I'm not counting him out on a much better offense if he's pushing the RB2.
Yeah. Plus, he's motivated. He's from Syracuse. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah,
I'm not going out and drafting Latavius Murray, but that could be something that affects, obviously, we're talking about Damian Harris in this range of running back. With James Cook, Damian Harris, it's ambiguous. You don't really know what, as far as is Harris going to take more than a touchdown roll away from that offense? Is Cook going to be able to ascend to more of a, a lightning thunder kind of deal, but it's interesting.
Whoa, folks, we have a celebrity in the chat. Wendy up in the house. There she
To
is.
what do we owe the pleasure?
Yes, the recent podcast star, Wendy. I know, Linda, you caught that one too, right?
Absolutely. Say, girl,
Yeah.
she crushed it. She was a natural.
We got to get her on here, man. I was very impressed. Wendy, thank you for popping in. Wendy's been a big supporter. One of the only people that actually listened to us when we said try and use the promo code alarm at Cheesecake Factory. I know notoriously it did not work. We did bail her out of jail, but yeah, be careful with that. I mean, use promo code alarm wherever. Use it. Fantasy Alarm on Underdog. You throw it in and see where it works. We got so many different sponsors here that give it a try, but just be careful with it. All right. Linda, I want to ask you, because we're getting into that range now. So many, and I know it's been talked about a lot, so I'm just going to ask you to pick one. If you are in this range and you're saying, whatever, dude, I'm grabbing one of these free agent running backs. You got Dalvin Cook, Zeke Elliott, Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt. Which one of those guys do you like?
Yeah, I have to pick one.
If you had to pick one, and if you could just put them somewhere, what would you do? Because I mean, at a certain point, it's like the devil you know versus the devil you don't.
I've been most likely to take the Dalvin Cook pick, just because I feel like he's gonna land somewhere. Even though right now I think he thinks he's gonna get paid like a receiver, but eventually he'll either have a come to Jesus meeting or he won't, and I think it's more likely that he does, and he ends up somewhere. So I think there's still enough juice. I'm kicking that tire a little bit.
I think a lot of these guys could end up just being like, if it really turns into a situation where some of these guys are looking at the vet minimum, I would consider going either A, somewhere where you can play a lot, or B, somewhere you're familiar. Like if I'm Zeke and it's getting to that point, I'm like, guys still got my locker there. You know what I mean? Like he's that familiarity. Leonard Fournette with the Bucks, be like, hey, you know what? Can I sleep over? So I don't know. I could see. I was in the area and I know if you guys were busy. Was wondering if maybe I could just come back and hang out. I'm gonna take this player. It's a player I've talked about a lot. Chigakonkwo.
I think that whole free agent running back situation is just going to be a gigantic game of musical chairs that everybody who cut their running backs are going to end up signing one of these free agents. And it's just going to be, there's going to be one guy left out until injury happens. So except for Zeke, I do think that Zeke ends up back in Dallas.
If they it just seems like they're really going to cut Joe Mixon and have his dead cap on the team and then sign Dalvin Cook. It just seems a little.
Well, he's not a free agent right now. That's not who I'm talking about.
Well, I'm saying that's one of the other narratives I've heard with the musical chairs. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's not going to happen with some of these other teams, but that's one where it's like, are you really going to cut, like with the Cowboys, for instance, too, like, and the Vikings? Are you like, they're cutting these guys and eating the dead cap, and they're just going to sign another one? I don't know. If I was one of these guys, a spot I'd be looking to go to is maybe the Cardinals. That's a spot where you could potentially get a pass down role and actually play and showcase what you can do and potentially get another contract, right? Like, how many spots are there where you can actually have a pass down role, which in today's era is the valuable role?
Depending on what happens in Vegas with Josh Jacobs, that could be another landing spot. That could be a Fournette spot.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should just get rid of running backs entirely. I do like James Conner. Just get rid of him.
You're not pulling my arm, Coop.
It's all passing and kickers.
Fantasy was much easier without having to draft a running
guys.
back. I've been doing it for years.
They should go back to there should be a rule where you have to do it like the 2003 Chiefs, where you just have to use one running back every single play, and then when he gets hurt, use the backup every single play. And then that's the rule.
Yeah, because they had Priest Holmes had like 380 carries. Remember, they drafted Larry Johnson. He had like 12.
5, yeah. And then next year, Priest Holmes got hurt, and Larry Johnson had 700 carries.
Yeah.
Those are the good old days. That was, if it was still like that, though, we wouldn't have jobs because it was too easy then. The whole top 15 pick. 2007, I looked at it. The top 15 picks, the only player that wasn't a running back was Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Every other player was a running back.
Drafting 0 RB would be like drafting RB 33.
Yeah. Dude, if you drafted 0 RB back then, everyone would have called you like a witch. Or like
That's pretty much what Sean. That was pretty much Sean.
Or they
Siegel.
would have called you a loser.
They would have called you a loser, yeah. And that's why Sean Siegel left Twitter. But it turned out he was right.
That is the smartest move, to be fair.
Just get a job in the industry and then leave Twitter. It's kind of genius.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know if the rest of us can pull it off, though. You'd have to write like a legendary article, like his 2013 fragility. What was it called? Fragility of running backs. And zero
Yeah.
RB. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a legendary
Well,
article.
maybe Elon will do it for us. We'll see.
That'd be wild. Linda, have you migrated anywhere else besides Twitter yet, or are you just going to stick with
I'm
the
not
old
going
card?
nowhere else, dude. I'm not learning another social media app. If
Linda's-
Twitter dies, you can find me on Goodreads.
I mean, on the Linda's like, catch me on the beach, dog.
Yeah, you'll see me in the wild, maybe. I can't learn another one. I can't do it.
Linda's like that dude in the movie Titanic when he's just like playing the violin. He's like, it's been an honor playing with you guys.
We're going down with the team,
We're going
for
down.
sure.
Yeah. What about you, Britt, Kev? You guys migrated anywhere else? You Twitter, what is it? Blue Sky or Mastodon?
Yeah,
No.
that's Jack's thing. I signed up for it, but I haven't gotten an invite yet. I'll check it out, but I'm probably on Twitter. I already got it bookmarked. That's a lot of work.
It's like,
Yeah, I can't deal with another app, another social media situation. Like I already have enough ADHD to add another app to the mix. Yeah.
you're not coming over to Reddit.
I can't do Reddit. People on Reddit are mean.
Yeah, we
Like
are.
legit mean. And I'm
yeah,
not
we are.
I'm not about that. I'm sorry. I'm just not about that. So
Yeah.
no, I will not be going to Reddit. I'll
Yeah.
post intermittently over there, but no.
Yeah, that's the thing with Reddit. There's too much anonymity. There are some people that like are all over there enough that they know they're part of the community and they you recognize the accounts and stuff, and those people are great, but just too many randoms popping in to say mean things, right? Yeah, or they don't even read the article, they just read the headline. So it's it can be like that sometimes, but I don't know. I like it. I like arguing on the internet. What are you gonna do? Not to mention Reddit is having an issue where they were increased their prices and everybody has been protesting them, and then Twitter was
boycotting,
and then
Yeah.
Twitter, Elon was like, hold my beer, like let me see if I can make it even worse. Like this was your one moment to capture the other audience for both people, and they're both just like, nah.
Well, maybe Zuckerberg will knock him out in their fight.
The Zuck. Linda, Zuck, Elon, who wins the fight?
Nobody.
Isn't the
Yeah.
fight an actual thing that people are betting on?
Apparently, Elon's mom.
Dana White wants to put it on, doesn't he?
Dana White, of course.
Elon
I'm
doesn't
pretty
have
sure-
a neck, dude. Like he's already at a disadvantage. I bet
No,
his
right.
wingspan is 4 feet.
I feel
And
like
have you
Nike-
seen the South Park episode with Zuck just like flying all over the place? I have no doubt that that's him in real life.
Yeah, I think he like.
Well, he knows
loses
Taekwondo.
karate
Like, I think
and
he's
shit.
like legit.
Not having a neck might help you a little bit, though. Like,
Bro, he cannot have a very wide wingspan. Like, just elbows.
he's got like 50 pounds on him, though. On Zuck, like he's just big. Like sometimes bigger is bigger. Like,
I bet he moves like a sloth, dude. Just fucking.
oh my god, I would be so great to watch that. It really would. Oh boy.
I'm playing the 2022 Week 1 weekly winners draft here with Stafford, Josh Allen, James Cook, Cooper Kupp, Dalton Kincaid right now.
Yeah. Let's look at some of these teams. Let's see here. Who's a Hamburglar is a guy that has done minimum 5 of these. He's a sharp fella. I'm going to read off some of these players. Linda, let me know what you feel about this build. First off, started stacking AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. Then he went Breece Hall, Christian Watson, Marquise Brown, Alexander Madison, Dallas Goedert, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Boyd, Romeo Doubs, then David Njoku, Jonathan Mingo. So pretty well rounded, probably a little thin at running back, but aren't we all? What do you think, Linda?
I love Jalen Hurts AJB stack. I think any Jalen Hurts stack is gonna be pretty. Is he a Green Bay fan? Feels like he's a Green Bay fan.
Dude,
I'm not
I just double tapped
surprised.
QB, or else I would take Jordan Love. Right, I pick one pick before him. Just take Jordan Love because he's got Watson and Romeo Doubs. I mean,
I just don't know how to feel about the Green Bay offense right now.
You, me both.
we kind of blew up Hamburger's spot because Jordan Love is next QB in ADP at QB 21 here. If Gordo, Kev, or myself, we all have 2 QBs, so we'll let the Hamburger do his thing if he wants to. Here, we'll be nice enough on this one, unless Kev wants to pull something here.
I'm not pulling anything. I'm gonna draft somebody I haven't really drafted enough of.
Ooh, the Sharkster, dude.
Dip into the Shark Tank, man.
Well, let's ask our guest since we've already talked a bit about this. ADPs for these guys, like all outside the 120 picks. That's like 10 rounds. Hold on real quick. Let me take my boy here. So you got Adam Thielen, you've got DJ Chark, and you've got Jonathan Mingo. If you had to pick one of those guys to lead that team in targets, Linda, who you like?
I mean, I took Adam Thielen, so I guess I'm just ride or die for my boy forever.
Yeah.
Hashtag too many touchdowns.
I was talking to Billy Muzio, shout out player profiler over there, and he made a good point that with it being, which Kev kind of just alluded to there, is that with it being potentially equal target wise and unknown, that maybe it is smart to just lean into the guy that has some red zone prowess and say, okay, all things equal, this guy has that little extra boost. So I think that's probably why Thielen goes a little earlier. They also gave him a contract that suggests that they believe he's got a lot left in the tank, right? The 3-year deal, at least 2 of those have enough guaranteed money where he's not going anywhere. So it's at least a 2-year deal.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like Chark at cost. I'm looking at like when we're talking about wide receivers into the last like 5-6 rounds. If we're not playing the mystery box game with either rookies or guys that could jump into roles, I'm starting to take more of the guys that are maybe not quite all exercise team. They're going to be running routes, but all it takes is a safety to go the wrong way. Guys like Darius Slayton, guys like DJ Chark, guys like Van Jefferson. I think there's definite value in like guys like that, and I think I've been maybe a little bit ignorant to guys that are they're going to be on the field. I mean, I think Jalen Guyton, maybe he didn't have the talent to, maybe capitalize on a lot of that. He never really earned targets, but we've seen DJ Chark earn targets. Van Jefferson, we know that's an ambiguous wide receiver group. Darius Slayton is like a choose your own adventure with like 5 giants within 12 picks of each other. So I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to take those guys that we know they're going to be on the field, and we know guys that are on the field. Obviously, it's better than not being on the field.
For sure. And Linda, looking at your team here, what are you doing? Why? What is this? What is this? Did Chester put you up to this tight end situation? Did Matt Chester pay?
It's a little funny. It's a little funny to watch you.
What are you? What is that? Come on. What are you doing? Tell everybody what you've done.
Is this a bit?
I took Taysom Hill.
But as your only tight end right now? Oh, Taysom Hill, dude.
It's time, brother.
All I've ever wanted is for his tight end eligibility to be removed. Like, I've sent countless emails. I've gone to headquarters and knocked on doors.
Written congressman.
Yeah. I mean, we've marched in the streets to prevent this atrocity, and looks like it's here to stay. What do you have, 9 targets last year?
If that.
Yeah, he should have stayed as a linebacker.
Yeah, dude. He plays more special teams than he does tight end.
Yep.
He should be flex only.
Yeah, I was going to say it should be like the utility, like in baseball.
Exactly. He's David Ortiz.
100%.
100%.
Yell me a Coke.
Yeah, all right, fine.
Yeah,
I'll give it
just
to you. If you're able to make him flex eligible only, then I would buy you that Coke. 100%.
We'll see.
Ooh, Juwan Johnson. Now there's a real tight end. Thank you very much.
Back in my day, we like that.
I didn't say he was a real tight end. I'm just taking advantage of a cheat code.
I know, and but
I
yes,
think, I mean,
You love
honestly,
it.
I will say that last year he was in a lot of the lineups that advanced because he got thrown in there in kind of a bad offense and he got opportunities, and you don't need him to produce week to week in best ball. And that's the beauty of the thing. So I think he kind of is a cheat code, Linda.
yeah. And then he scored 0 points in like week 17 and everyone lost. So that's fine too. Juwan Johnson scored a lot of touchdowns last year. And like we said, if you don't like Michael Thomas, I do because he's awesome. But if you don't like Michael Thomas, then you should be looking at some of these other guys. Do you guys have Rashid Shaheed at all? The people on Twitter seem to love Rashid Shaheed, and I'm just not really feeling it.
I
He
thought it
did
was
something
good on
flashy like twice last season, so people love him.
Right? That's literally what it is.
I think he's just Twitter famous. Like, I don't know if he went out in the real world, people would be like, yeah.
Exactly. They'd be like,
Maybe.
who?
Rashid Shaheed's my guy. That dude kept me afloat in my Flex and Kings Classic.
Stinks.
I was going like this because Britt bypassed Jerome Ford, and I was like, I'm gonna get Jerome Ford, and then he got taken. I was not a happy camper.
Making fun of your tight ends, but mine aren't that good either. Whatever. Yeah, Jerome Ford, dude. That's Britt's in on the Jerome Ford game, but you took Gus over him. What's up with that, Britt?
Diversification, my friend.
Yeah,
Diversification.
Portfolio.
I like Gus a lot, man. I mean,
Who just took Bryce Young?
the Hamburglar, man.
The burglar.
He didn't take his
Appropriate
boy.
fucking name.
He didn't take Jordan Love. He went with the Bryce Young. You got Hamburglar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Can we make that a thing? I like that.
You got Young burgled.
Yeah, burgled.
Just getting burgled. I do hate it. It sounds awful.
It sounds awful, but you
you
say it enough times and it starts to like grow on you.
You got burgled. No, it doesn't. Dude.
It's the burgled.
Ew.
All right, Linda, make up for your last round here.
I can't.
You gotta do something.
Nope.
I'll make up for it now.
Nope.
Okay.
You got 2
I'm going
burgled?
full homer.
Yeah, there it is, dude. A lot of heart right there. I'll tell you, Tim Patrick leads the league in touchdown receptions where I think he's a tight end, and then I realize that he is Tim Patrick. Like every time I'm like, hey, who is it? Which one is that? And I'm like, what the hell, dude? Why is he so big?
He's apparently the most athletic player in the wide receiver room. So,
oh my God, who said that, Britt?
It was a beat reporter that put that out like last week.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Was it Albert Breer?
I don't think it was Breer. I think that they chose to remain anonymous for good reason.
Because we knew they knew he'd come after him. That team, like, I like Tim Patrick, but they have 10 tight ends and multiple running backs now, and they drafted Marvin Mims on top of Judy and Sutton. It's just crazy over there, man. I still feel like they could trade somebody. Linda,
I got burgled.
You think it's possible they trade somebody? You got burgled too?
I got burgled.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen, but my position with the Denver wide receivers is just to take the cheapest one. I had Mims and Patrick in my queue, so I just took the one that was like.
Yeah, in Mims and Dynasty, I see people. My advice to people out there would be: do not fade a guy like Mims because of his situation, because we've seen it time and time again. When a new regime comes in, they are just kind of waiting for contracts to expire so they could do the things they want to do. So Sean Payton and Joe Lombardi, with these contracts they got, they're not going anywhere, and they're going to build the team they want to build. And next year, you're going to see the moves. Look at the Giants with the second year under Dable, all the moves they made. For weapons, they literally, you couldn't make up a way to go out and get somebody that they didn't use. They have Wandale and Sterling Shepard coming back from injury. They traded for Darren Waller. They drafted Jalen Hyatt. They signed Paris Campbell and Jamison Crowder. Like, that's what happens with these new regimes. So if Marvin Mims is picked by the new regime, don't be surprised if some of these other guys go bye-bye. That's all. So keep that in mind. Rant over.
So, Linda, if you're going to pick a Giants wide receiver, there's like 9 of them that go in like this range between Hodgins, Wandale, Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, the apparently steamed up Paris Campbell. Choose one.
You guys play the worst games on this show. These are the worst games.
You're the worst players on one of the worst teams. Who you like?
Pick one.
Yeah.
None of these guys play for anybody. Who would you choose?
I mean, somebody's got to do something. No, come on now. Could just be Saquon Waller.
Yeah, I know. You had an anti-Hodgins post last week, but
who did?
That's kind of where I tend to lean. I think
Fine.
You did, Coop.
That was you.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
the trading card in the attic of so and so.
Travis Fulgham. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't like him, but I mean, here's the thing.
And then I did the Paris Campbell, Corey Coleman one too.
Yeah, I've been actually kind of angering people on Twitter, but that's fine because I do my homework and I don't like these players. But the reality is, in this range, just taking a stab on Hodgins versus Wan'Dale Robinson versus any of these guys, it's not that far off. It's not that crazy. Who took John Mechie?
That would be me.
Oh my, you are just a devil. Now I actually might take one of these guys. I'll take the one that I like best from that wide receiver crew there. Take Wan'Dale Robinson. I think that we didn't really get a chance to see him, but they took him in. They took him in the second round, and then shortly into the early practices there, they traded Kadarius Toney. So something there had to tell these guys, like, we like this guy and we don't like this guy, right? Like, there had to be something there. No, come on, give me a narrative. Isaiah Hodgins only had 2 good games, and they were both versus the Vikings.
I mean, he looked really good in college. I don't think that he had a chance to actually look good before that ACL injury because he was learning the system, and then he had like a couple nice games, and then he
had
got
a top
hurt,
12
but
finish before the game before he got hurt.
that's what I mean. He was coming on like right around the time he got hurt. But I think bringing in Jalen Hyatt kind of may limit him because Hyatt is really good. That's the only thing that worries me. I think that they drafted Hyatt just because of Sterling Shepard and Hodges and Slayton. They're just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. But if Wandale can move to the outside and a little less out of the slot while Hyatt develops his route tree, I think that he'll be pretty good.
Yeah, they could do a lot of mixing and matching, a little bit of live tryouts. Linda just took your boy that you earlier today on our show were professing your love for, Desmond Ridder. How do you feel about that pick?
Yes, the 17th round. I love him so much in the 17th round.
I actually don't mind him in the 17th rounds, to be honest.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I was saying earlier. I think that he has some rushing upside. He and Drake London have developed a connection. I'm not saying like, yeah, he's QB1 because we're not crazy here. But in the 17th round, especially the end of the 17th round, I think that he's a great pick.
Yeah, I don't mind him there at all. I really, and we were just joking earlier around with you. I don't mind that pick. I do mind the pick that Debro just made, Pierre Strong, because I wanted that pick real bad. So, good pick.
Linda, I have 2 short kings in my queue. Pick number 1 or number 2. I'll let you make my last pick.
Ooh, 2 short kings?
Yes.
We stand.
Give me number 2. He probably needs a hug.
Well, he can't ride a roller coaster, but he correlates with Matthew Stafford.
Hoove tube.
Oh my God, Tutu Atwell. When he was a prospect, I had a dream that I was at his college, like scouting him. Then I woke up and I was like, "You have to take a break." If you dream about Tutu Atwell, bro,
you can't leave us. You can't leave us hanging. What was the dream report? Were you in or out? Were you in or out?
Out, dude. I have to look down at him.
The other one was Greg Dortch, by the way.
Dortch, dude. Better at being Rondell Moore than Rondell Moore himself.
Would you be like that?
do be like that sometimes. What do you think about Hoof Tubes comment Desmond Rizzer?
Rizzer.
Move him up. Honestly, in this range, a nickname can get you moved up.
That is true, actually.
It was supposed to be Bryce Young, so I'm like still not happy.
Oh man,
Gonna have to.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm
supposed to
gonna
be
have to
Bryce
get
Young.
up here and talk myself into Desmond Ritter and Trey McBride just like really heavily. I'm gonna be super pro both of them by the end of the day.
I actually kind of like Trey McBride, to be honest. The one thing is that like Zach Ertz, he obviously knows Jonathan Gannon from the time with the Eagles, which makes it more likely to me that they keep him around as a veteran presence rather than trade him. But they really should, considering they're doing a bridge year, they really should be trading guys like that, right? And Trey McBride last year had a 10 target game, even as a rookie. Like this guy could work in a bit, and especially in best ball, kind of intriguing, man. How many rookie tight ends ever get a 10 target game? I don't care if it's it was Colt McCoy at quarterback. Colt McCoy might be the quarterback to start the year this year. So Trey McBride, kind of interesting. He did get absolutely popped by Marcus Jones when they played the Patriots, which was hilarious.
Yeah, another draft in the books, gang.
Yeah. I feel honest. I was about to say I feel good about it, but my team, I feel terrible about it. The 6th spot is I was like, I feel pretty good about it. No, I feel terrible about this draft. The 6th spot is a horrible place to draft from. I know you don't get to pick your spot, but in your home league drafts, there are so many leagues that let you pick. I'll say right now, if things don't change, I don't think you really want to be picking from 6 or 7.
Well,
it's kind of a nasty spot.
I'll be picking a 106 on Sunday in the Scott Fish Bowl, so I'll be.
Well, that's a different story. That's a
I know. I'm just saying.
Premium where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. It's like whose line is it anyway? There's no negative points. There, every extra
ADP
point
doesn't exist.
Every extra point is a parade. Yeah, no ADP. Like it's ridiculous.
Ian Fish exists. He'll be roasting like half my picks. So
I'm gonna be drafting in person with Bait Mansion and Daddy's Home. It's just a big circus. The Scott Fish Bowl is not a real league. That's a circus league, and I love every minute of it.
100%. So, real quick, Coop. If anybody wants to draft with us, tell them again how we can do it.
Yes, get in. First things first. Get in to our Discord. Right, become a Fantasy Alarm member. Right now, you can do that. Get all pro access. Use promo code COOP. They'll give you 50% off the first 6 months, and you get 7 days to just check it out. Like you come in, check it out, come in the Discord, drop some memes, check out the draft guide. You can place, it gives you access to everything, not just football. So you can place DFS, baseball, all that. You can bet on the NASCAR race with the 3 out of 4 time FSWA winner, Matthew Sells' picks. Like you can do all that. So 7 days of doing that, and then it'll be so cool and so much fun that you'll stay in there. And then you can do drafts like this on Underdog. When you sign up for Underdog, use promo code Fantasy Alarm. So that's it for us. It's 58. Linda, tell everybody real quick where you're at this year for your stuff. Are you doing MB? Or you just gonna post them on Twitter?
Yeah, I don't know yet. You can just find me on Twitter at Lindellians, and
that's what's up.
We'll see what the world brings us.
Beautiful. All right, gang. Thanks for joining us. Take care.